My name is Sairaj Kamath, and welcome to my podcast where I have in depth conversations with independent artists about their music, life, career, and so much more. And my guests for today are Dreamhour and Dokodoko, a musical duo from Siliguri that produces slick, groovy, and emotional synth pop music. Formed in the mid 2010s, Dreamhour, aka the solo project of Debojyoti Sayal, staked his claim as one of the very few Indian artists dabbling on a global scale in synthwave, a genre of electronic music drenched in big beats, driving grooves, piercing synths, and nostalgia for the 1980s and times gone by. After three landmark high concept studio releases in the form of Villains, Propstar, and Now That We Are Here, Dreamhour joined forces with longtime collaborator Dokodoko to produce I Don't Know, a collection of synth-pop songs exploring themes of chaos, confusion, and not having figured out what to do with your life just yet. With new music coming out very soon, I sat down with Dreamhour and Dokodoko to talk about a whole host of topics that include their musical journey, the nature of nostalgia, not wanting to be pigeonholed in a particular musical genre, and so much more. And if you like this conversation, then please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more cool conversations such as these. So, without further ado, here's me with Dreamhour and Dokodoko. Dreamhour, Dokodoko, welcome to the show. I am so happy to have you guys here. How are you doing?
Thank you, Sairaj. Thanks for having us.
Yes, we are really glad to get on this. It's been a while. Nice to meet you at Bangalore as well. So
So how did you like the Bangalore show? Because if I'm not wrong, that was your like first Bangalore show?
yeah, it like I've been playing around here and there at least, but I had never played at Bangalore. So and plus when we got to know that we'll be playing in a library, we were kind of worried, how our music translates to like that space. But I think it worked out fine. Bangalore was amazing.
Yeah,
Also,
but
some of the nicest people we met. I was in Bangalore, so yeah.
yeah, but you guys have been around for quite some time. So there wasn't like any plans or anything to perform in Bangalore throughout all that time.
I had been wanting to play in Bangalore, but the thing is, I have been playing live since 2017. My first gig was in 17, and until night 2019, I played, and then after COVID, I got back to my hometown.
Hmm.
And when I was in Pune, I used to get gigs here and there, and I was playing around here and there. But ever since I got back to my hometown, gigs were like, oh, khatam ho gaya. So I mean, which is understandable because I live pretty far away from like mainland and all, and like it's uh,
Mm.
logistically much more complex to get somebody from Siliguri to
Mm.
come in Bangalore. So it never worked out after that.
Mm. Is there a music scene in Siliguri where artists perform live?
Where they perform live, not really, not a regular space. There are some like really uh, passionate folks, hip hop boys and all those, those guys and all. They're doing some gigs here and there, but nothing regular at all. There's mostly those same old cover gigs happening in Siliguri.
Yeah, but I'd have to imagine that the environment of Siliguri is like conducive to making some like really cool music.
Yeah, I guess it's unfortunate that nothing much happens here sometimes soon. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to say, like, the way I found Dream Hour was on the New Retro Wave YouTube channel, and when I saw that, okay, Dream Hour is from India, I'm like, whoa, we actually have like synthwave over here. Like, I'm really surprised because I've been a huge fan of that style of music for years. I've been following like all of the usual suspects like FM84 and Perturbator and Ghost and all of those folks. But it's so cool to hear that we have like a synthwave synth pop artist here in India. So like just for my awareness, like are there any others like you? Because I feel like you are the only person I've heard of playing that style of music here in India.
Um, I think I've heard a few artists from the country. Uh, Probably not very well known in the scene, but I kind of like some of their music a lot. Like, I haven't been kept in touch yet, so I don't know if they're still making music. But I once found this artist called Mode Vogue on
Hmm.
Bandcamp, and I found out that he's from Goa. So
Okay.
That, and there's another guy called Popcorn Kid.
Mm.
I think he's from Chennai. I'm yet to check if they're still making synth pop or any kind of music, but I did find out like a few artists here and there from the country.
Fantastic, fantastic. Hopefully, they can reach the heights that you guys have. Yeah. So let's get into your latest release, which is IDK. So you guys just tell me like how the creation of IDK came about. What kind of space the creation of that release came from?
So we had been making music much before that as well, and we had been trying a lot of things, while we were in Siliguri. There was even one small phase where we were trying to kind of make music that's more accessible, or whatever you like to call that. And I think doing that we learned a lot, but in that process was kind of becoming monotonous as well. Like you're making music and somewhere in your mind it was like ये थोड़ा सा ना ये ऐसे करेंगे तो शायद ये लोग को अच्छा लगेगा, ये लोग को अच्छा लगेगा वैसे करके. But then, like, while we started working on, I don't know, we just figured that, like, matlab, what goes, like, who gives a shit. So we started just jamming and making whatever the music we can make, like we weren't making synth pop or electronic, this that, whatever comes in our mind, whatever we jam with, we would like we would record it, put it into an arrangement and just release it. So I guess I don't know was all about that. It was like this moment of confusion that we had, and right after that we just did whatever came naturally to us without giving it much thought,
Mm.
like genres, this, that, and all that. So that was that for me. You want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, with IDK, I think we let ourselves just be, in the sense that we were not thinking too much about who's going to listen to it or who's going to receive it in which way or any of that. So that way, it was a pretty freeing experience,
Yeah.
Mhm.
making the music in it. And yeah,
I think with I don't know, we kind of accepted that we are really confused people. So, like, let's deal with it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that can be a great segue into the themes of the album, which is like, confusion and chaos and, existentialism and coping with the feeling that yeah, you don't have everything figured out yet, but you go on regardless. So I'd have to imagine that those sorts of emotions can only come from like a really personal place as opposed to like being manufactured just for the sake of the music. So it has to come from your own lives, right?
Absolutely correct. Yeah, yeah. That was I don't know.
Yeah, but has the making of that music helped you like process those feelings in a healthy way and like make you come out in like a healthier space? Because music can be a great tool for that sort of thing.
I think it did for me, definitely. Like this EP was very freeing in some ways, like I have stopped worrying about, like the first 5 seconds of my track needs to be this certain way for it to work out
Mm.
here. I've been like I've started trusting my taste a lot more since I don't know. Like, like if it works for me, if I really dig it, it stays instead of like this metric and that metric. So for me personally, I don't know, was a realization a good one. So
Also,
Okay.
it was sort of therapeutic in that way,
Mm.
having tried to make music that sort of caters to a certain audience, having sort of dabbled in that for a while, and then just
mm,
knowing for a moment that you can make what comes to you without having to think too much about
mm,
it. So that way, it was pretty therapeutic in the sense that,
mm. Yeah, I mean, like,
we made the EP at a time where each of us, we were, personally going through a lot of changes, a lot of different things, and that itself probably added to all the confusion. But
mm,
yeah, we sort of found a release with this album.
yeah, we stopped taking things too seriously, I guess.
Yep. Doko, I'm just curious. Uh, did your background as a doctor and the knowledge that comes with it have an impact in any way on the music that you were writing for this project?
I've never decided for it to be that way. consciously, but I guess what I, the field that I have worked on for my research, and which is existentialism, absurdism. So I'm naturally sort of, attracted to those fields. And I think that also pours on to the music that we're making with Dokodoko, Dreamhour. So yeah.
Because what I've found when it comes to the making of music is that music is a product of people's environment and people's psychology. And the music that they make, whether they realize it or not, is a unique product of their own environment and psychology. So, like, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean that's true for any form of art, I believe, right?
Mm,
Your personal environment, your social environment, all of that gets mirrored in the art that you're making. So for us, like he already said, we're really chaotic people.
mm,
Chaotic.
And chaotic in the sense that, there's a lot of issues to figure out. I mean, I'm sure that's the deal with any other human being. But yeah, we sort of feel this amplified sense of chaos and confusion. And yeah, all of that we've started embracing with our recent music.
Yeah.
And I
mm.
just want to see how it goes, you know,
Mm.
from here.
Uh, fantastic, fantastic. Uh, any particular tracks from I don't know that people have responded the most to? Which track have people like really loved so far?
I
Heart,
think
heart, no?
Heart Heart. Well, Heart Heart is the one that we vibe with, I feel. No, I mean like for live, when we play live, I guess Heart Heart is one of the most like well accepted tracks, you'd say. But I guess overall, like looking at like stats and all that stuff, I guess it was What I See of the EP. So that
Hmm.
song had a few like good numbers compared to the other ones.
Yeah, that is my personal favorite as well. So yeah. So how did the working relationship between you two start? Because for those who don't know, Doko Doko has already like given vocals for previous Dreamer releases, but now this is the first release where you two have like both your names on the cover. So how did the working relationship between you two start?
Uh, we started making music almost as soon as we met, which was like around 6 7 years ago. I found out that she sings and writes, and I really liked the kind of stuff that she was writing. And around that time, I was kind of losing confidence in my singing.
Oh.
I was not having fun, like singing live and even recording around that time. And I really wanted somebody to kind of take that load off me. I just wanted to produce and make music. And right around that time, she dropped by and I saw her lyrics and, her vocals and all. And I'm like, you must try doing something on this track. You must try doing something on that track. And then we started like sitting together in the studio and making some stuff. And वो करते करते like somehow the EP happened. Like right before that EP, we had released another EP as well. We call that like demo. And even that one was both of us, but I guess we used the name Doko Doko to release that. And later we figured that, like एक साथ करके ऐसे.
What? So could Dreamer potentially be a duo going into the future with you two?
I guess Dreamer and Doko Doko. That's how is this gonna stay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
we.
Let's rewind back a little bit. Actually, back to the beginning. So just tell me, what are the origins of Dream Hour? How did Dream Hour start as a project?
so I had been making music like ever since I can remember. Like I really loved recording like when I had a Walkman and I figured that I can, like overdub old cassettes and all. I
Hmm.
destroyed all the cassettes in my home trying to overdub, like record myself and then again record. Somehow my Walkman had that feature. So from like coming from there, like when I had my first computer, I figured a way to record and wo karte karte like it was around my final year of school, and I
Hmm.
made this one 6 7 minute song and I call that Dreamer. Okay, because it was a song about dreaming and stuff. And with that name, I guess like I figured that this is a good name for a project because like Radiohead hai, Coldplay hai, दो words वैसे करके, I figured I'll keep that as a name, and that's how Dreamhour started. But my first I had released this 11 12 tracks ka demo that I guess it's not available anywhere online yet anymore. In that album EP, I tried a few sounds and all, and in one of those tracks in that, I forgot the name of the track, but that one track was very this retro wavy synth pop sounding, and somehow like every time I'd show that EP, like uh, blogs and all, whoever is to feature it was to point out to that song. And somehow around that time, there was this one new channel called New Retrowave who was posting that kind of sound. So I sent it to them, and this was like 10 years ago, 2014 or 15. And they put that song on their YouTube channel. And after that, I figured that I actually enjoy making that sound, and that song gives me some kind of feeling because, like, growing up, I used to play GTA Vice City a lot, and I used to love that soundtrack. Like that soundtrack was my school days ka soundtrack. And I figured like I actually like this sound. I want to make something, so I made an EP and I sent it to New Retrowave, and they're like, "Yeah, we can release it." And that's how I guess Dreamhour started with that sound, that sound of the synth pop and whatever.
Okay,
So
so that EP would be Unfinished Story of the Unknown Band,
yeah,
right?
yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like really good and high quality for like the very first release, and it makes so much sense that GTA Vice City inspired it because you took me back with that, dude. I played GTA Vice City so much, and I love it so much, and there's a reason it is as iconic as it is. Actually, you know what? If you could feature any like Dreamer track and Dokodoko for you also, if you could feature any Dokodoko song and a Dreamer song in GTA Vice City, which one would you pick?
I think I would put just for the cheesiness and the, how the radio stations work, those announcers and all. I think She's Everything would be a good fit for the radio station. Like somehow that song sounds very cheeky, like that in some way. So yeah, maybe She's Everything. That song.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So from there, let's go to your very ambitious debut album, which is Villains. And I mean, forget the music. The music is really great for a debut release, but just the concept itself is like so high concept. For those who don't know, the concept, the story is like two protagonists fight a gang of like vampire crime lords with like very colorful names, and all of those characters are inspired by like old school Bollywood movies and old school Bollywood villains. You have references to like Amrish Puri and all of those iconic Bollywood villain actors. So just tell me about the creation of the story and the concept for Villains. How did that come about?
Villains. So Villains is like, like 50 70% is visual amnesia, Ruben. Like
Yes.
he's the guy, he was kind of the big brother for that project. So I had released Unfinished Story, and Ruben came across that release, and he messaged me saying that you should be my brother. And I'm like, yes, I have grown up seeing your work. Like I don't know if you have probably read RSJ, who hasn't, I guess. So he was the creative director at RSJ, and I have been like, all the major, all the Indian indie releases that I used to dig had album arts by him, right from Joint Family and even Demonic Resurrection later and a lot of stuff. So I was like, yes, I would love that. And so he was telling me, are you working on some demos? And I showed him a few demos, and I told him that even New Retrowave were okay with releasing it. They were like, I had like 5 6 tracks, and New Retro was like, why don't you turn it into an album? Then we can like put it on vinyl and cassettes and all. I'm like, yes, I would love a vinyl. So I turned that EP into an album, and I showed those demos to Ruben, and he was like, what are you thinking about this, art wise? So there were like just two things in mind: Bollywood and GTA Vice City. So I wanted to have Bollywood and GTA Vice City on the album art, but other than that, I had no idea what else to do. So he made a few stuff, and then I guess his lawyer told him, his legal told him that this is too much likeness of the actual characters, and there might be some issues. So then we figured that how can we change it around without changing much. So we turned it into a vampire story. So that's how villains came about. If that thing wouldn't happen, then it would be like a Bollywood meets Vice City thing. But then
Mm.
the vampire thing came into play, and then we discussed a few storylines, what goes with the song, and then based on his storyline, I made try to make the track list more, fluid, like it goes into one track to another, like a movie. And yeah, somehow like it turned into villains from there.
Fantastic, fantastic. Which character in the villains verse do you relate to the most?
Relate. So there's actually poster of villains. I'm looking at that. So there is this two characters called Balderrama brothers who are bald.
Oh,
Uh,
they're inspired by those two bald guys in Breaking Bad, right?
I don't know. I don't know if that's. He never mentioned. I don't know if he was. But
Okay.
the only reason I kind of you said relate. So they have like like analog synths and all with them. So that
Oh.
way I can relate. I can't relate with uh Mogambo. What?
Danny
Lord
DeVito.
Alucard. I guess that's what it's called. So yeah, Balderrama brothers.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't get a notice from Castlevania for that Alucard reference.
Ah, oh right.
What, you're
I
just realizing it now
yeah, yeah.
that Alucard is a reference to Castlevania?
Bro, it took me so long to realize that Alucard is just Dracula backwards. Like I'm I was pretty slow about that. So yeah, now okay, now I get it. I'm glad nobody. I mean, we didn't call the album Alucard, so whoever like buys the vine a cassette or something, they will like whoever decides to dig deep, only they will know that it is called Alucard. So works out, I
uh,
guess.
Dokodoko, what about you? Which character do you relate to, or which character is your favorite in that release?
Um,
The only female character.
hey, I don't have to only choose the female character, do I? I think Amrish Puri.
Hey, your hometown boy is
Yeah,
there.
there's Dennis Denzongpa, hometown boy.
Homeboy.
Homeboy.
Okay, okay. Going forward to your next release, which is Propstar. With that release, I get the feeling that you were like stretching out of the whole, synthwave label that you had with your debut album. But while doing my research, there is one line that caught me about the album while you were talking about the album with a journalist in whatever website I was looking to. I mean, the line was, it's like you were dealing with the emotions of not becoming the pop star you dreamed of becoming as a kid. So, like, what's up with that? Can you dig a little deeper into that?
Yeah, like I have been very ambitious about being, like making music and making name ever since I was a kid. Like one thing I knew for sure was I wanted to make music, and I wanted to be like really well known, and like I wanted to be some star, like all the whatever artist I was listening to back then. So when Propstar released, I was what 24, I guess. I forgot 24 or 23. Yeah. And when I was a kid, I figured 23, 24 is like, like old, really old. And around that time, COVID started, and I just got back from Pune, and Pune was like very happening, and, a lot of stuff happening. I'm playing shows here and there. And as soon as I got back to my hometown, things just slowed down. And COVID didn't help with that. It further slowed down everything. I couldn't even go out. And all that kind of started, like creating all these thoughts कि यार अभी तक कुछ नहीं किया यार तूने कुछ उखाड़ा नहीं कुछ ये नहीं वो नहीं and I'm like I kind of like those feelings वैसे आ रहा था which are not very rational to be honest, but those kind of like got me to make lot of the songs in that album. And I figured that every most of us go through that kind of feelings, like this existential, I won't call it crisis, but
Feeling of being inadequate, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, like not doing enough, not being enough, that kind of thoughts. And I was still writing those songs while I was out here. Half of the album was written in Pune, so I figured that I could use that as a like a point to carry on this album. And yeah, Propstar.
Mm. Okay, okay. And this is just a little idea out there, but was there, for when it comes to merchandise,
Hmm.
was there ever an idea of like actually making the Propstar jacket? Because the jacket on the cover of Propstar looks like really cool. So I get the feeling that would have been like a really cool piece of merch.
I know, right? I wish I could do that. Maybe I'll do it someday.
Yeah, 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 because it looks really cool. It reminds me of the jacket that Ryan Gosling wore in Drive. A little bit of a more colorful version of that
Right,
jacket
right.
also. So
Right.
I get the feeling that'd be a really cool merch idea.
I'll just like take this opportunity to, give a shout out to Anusha who did the artwork for both Propstar and the newer one now that we're here. And
Mm.
she, like, right after Villains, I sat with her and, so she did so many versions of the artwork. And there were artwork where it was like so much details, like my room and my room in a synthwave world, this, that. And then we narrowed it down to the jacket one. So yeah, this is just like I'm giving her a shout out because I made her do so much work just to get to this one artwork. So yeah, thank you, Anusha.
Okay, okay, fantastic. Going on to the third album, now that we are here,
Hmm.
again, from my research, the term that stuck out while you were describing the album was Bappiwave. Why Bappiwave? What was the influence of the almighty disco king Bappi Lahiri?
I think Bappiwave was before that. Like when I was working on Propstar, I have a few tracks on Propstar where there are these Bollywood strings, happening. Excuse me, and I hope I don't get like takedowns for this. But in a few songs, I've like sampled Bappi Lahiri's tracks. Those are very small samples; you can barely figure it out.
Mm.
Uh, and I really like the vibe of that, and I just figured like synth pop. Like I'm tired of because like a lot of synth pops were starting to sound very similar around that time, like 2020, 21, and I really didn't want to call myself another synth pop act. So I I figured I'll just call it Bappi Wave. There is nothing more than that. Nothing कि हाँ मतलब एकदम कुछ है वो genre है ऐसा है. It just felt like a nice call the music. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I don't have as strong of an exposure, or I haven't gone that deep into Bappi Lahiri's music as like other styles of music because I have my own preferences. But does Bappi Lahiri like have any influence on like electronic music in India? I mean, I'm very curious about that because Bappi Lahiri is like a reference point that I've surprisingly seen in a good number of independent artists also. So is there any influence from him on electronic music in India?
I think Bappi Lahiri was the guy who made like those electronic sounds mainstream. Like, like in Bollywood, you'd hear like take take for example the disco dancer song. Like there are a lot of synthesizers, drum machines, and all, and he kind of made it mainstream. So that way, he definitely has an impact. But around that time, there were also producers like Biddu. Biddu is from Bangalore, if I'm not wrong.
Mm.
So he's the guy behind songs like, Made in India. And even before that, in the 80s, what was that song? Kung Fu Fighting. A
Hmm.
lot of songs from like UK and all as well. Like very. So he was producing a lot of those songs. Even he was there. But I guess like Bappi Lahiri is the one who was more well known in India. His sounds were more widespread in the country. So I guess that way he had an impact. But
Mm. Okay, okay. And getting back to what you said about you not wanting to be known as another synth pop artist, so does that mean like you have you like really felt pigeonholed by the synthwave label or the synth pop label at times?
yes, yes, definitely. Uh, because a lot of the times, even when I'm showing my demos to someone who have heard Dreamhour, they're not very thrilled when they hear something that's not synth pop because they expect me to make synth pop because that's what I started making. But the thing is, I was making synth pop back then because that was a sound that I was vibing with. I didn't set out to make synth pop. Even on the new album, now that we are here, you can hear synth pop, but the only synth pop thing about that is, the sample and the sound choices. Like while I'm writing the songs, I am not trying to be synth pop or anything. So there is an expectation for me, like, ki synth pop artist and all that. So there is a little bit of pigeonholing out there. Like I can give an example. I won't take names, but recently we had a show, and when we reached, we kind of showed our new EP songs as well, and we were told by the organizer that bro, like, or synth pop chahiye, like this is not synth pop enough, like we expect you to be making synth pop, and wo 80s wala wo chahiye and stuff, which was kind of disappointing because okay, like if you're doing a synth pop night, great, we were gonna play that, but we make more than that. We make more different types of music other than synth pop as well, and I think like वो pigeonholing के वजह से थोड़ा सा we can't get that out that effectively. So
Mm. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. I mean, like not only on the promoter side, like even the fan side, like people can be like very limiting to artists because I remember when another artist I mentioned, Perturbator. I
mm,
mean, he changed his sound and there was a lot of negative reaction like initially, but now it's just a part of his sonic template now. And even though like you said, now that we are here, like you are not much of it is like synth pop, so to speak. I get the feeling that IDK, I don't know, is like the definitive start of a new direction for both you guys.
absolutely. But like, which is why we are using this name, the Dreamhour Dokodoko. It is a platform. It's a project for me where I can experiment without worrying about कि ये genre करना है, वो genre करना है. But while saying that, like we just finished a new EP, a follow up to IDK, and we are going to be releasing it soon, probably in September or sometime around that. But right before that, I also have another solo album coming out, which is going to be a full instrumental album of like purely synth pop sounds. So it's not like I'm gonna stop making synth pop. I really love the sound of synth pop. Just the that feeling of nostalgia it evokes in
Mm.
me. For that fact, I can't stop making that sound, so I will be making it. It's just that I wouldn't want to be known as that synth pop guy because I am making a lot of other sounds as well, and I'd love
Mm.
for others to check that out as well.
It's a very difficult line to traverse, isn't it? Like you want to fulfill yourself as an artist, but
Mm.
at the same time that there is a signature sound that people recognize you for. And in order to maintain your longevity, you have to adhere to that
Right,
sound.
right. Yeah. So I am actually letting that sound come to me naturally without trying to be synth pop. Like even if you listen to IDK, some of the songs are very synth pop.
Mm.
Like I guess like Cruel World, even the title, I don't know what it means. Like there is those drum machines and synths and all. It's just that I don't want to make synth pop, sit down to make synth pop.
Mm.
Like that that track could be like synth pop and all of a sudden there's like a trap beat starting. Anything can happen. I want that to that mystery to remain, like I'm not like don't expect just synth pop coming out of me. That's it.
Yep, fantastic, fantastic. And picking up from what you said about you loving that feeling of nostalgia that comes with synth pop. This is one thing that I've also been wondering, like not only in terms of music, but also in terms of like mass media and entertainment in general. And I think someone in your position might have an insightful answer on this. I mean, do you ever get the feeling that there is like too much nostalgia in the world right now?
There
Mm,
will always be too much nostalgia. I mean, there will always be people wanting to go back to some
I
time.
mean, think about it. Like right now, a lot of the acts coming up, okay, like a lot of music, new music that I'm listening to, younger people making music, it is very like hyper pop, especially the genre
Mm.
hyper pop. You see a lot of 90s references and all, like Frutiger, Arrow, if you've heard of it, like a lot of 90s imagery and 90s sounds and all. So when you think about it, it's like how we had Vice City in the 2000s. It was about like 80s, which was like 20-25 years ago. Currently, 2000s is like 20-25 years ago. And
Yes,
from
yes, it
25
is.
years
I
from
mean,
now,
I
like,
can't.
when you
I mean, it makes me feel so old when you just said
yeah,
that the 2000s are like 20 to 25 years ago.
yeah.
Ugh.
So Nostalgia is going to stay. Like I am big on nostalgia. Like annoyingly big. So I kind of like
You have
it,
to
but
literally drag him out of the past.
yeah, I mean, I love just that feeling of, like mm, a few years ago, and like how things were. Like maybe things were really shitty back then, but just how my memory perceives it, I like that feeling, and I like it when I can kind of emulate that feeling in music. So
Yeah, and I mean, like synthwave and synthpop is kind of like an example of like that crystallization of like idealizing the old days, like in my mind. I mean, you take the greatest aspects of the generation that you're referencing
Mhm.
and put it together using like new age tools and create like a sort of like an idealized perspective
Right.
of how it was back in the day. Even though back in the day had its own problems, but I get the feeling that that style of music in particular is kind of like a crystallization of that phenomenon.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, when we were young, ignorance is bliss. And I really miss those days of being ignorant for the sake of a better phrase. But I really love that feeling, man. Like, when you were a kid and there's not much you know about the world, and this world is this open, like possibilities. Anything is possible. Your dreams will get real. And I really like that feeling. And I like how nostalgia kind of, you know,
Mm.
how is it? I love that
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah. So, Dokodoko, what do you have to say about this phenomenon? Perhaps you can give us some insight with your background.
We're always going to be nostalgic as a race, as humans altogether, right? We're always going to want to go back to simpler times. And those times were probably not that simple, but since we were simple, everything else felt good. Everything else felt like home. And it's also important to sort of have a place to go back to, speaking nostalgia wise, because sometimes your present situation or whatever is happening in the present gets a little too much. So it's just this cozy little spot that I guess is also essential if you are to remain sane.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I've also felt that same emotion sometimes when things are at their worst. So I guess that sort of feeling can be a good coping mechanism for dealing with the present as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I guess that's the whole point, yeah.
Yeah. You have done a couple of international collaborations early on in your career with artists like, Nightcall and Christian Baxic, if I'm pronouncing
Think
his name
Bash.
correctly. Huh?
As far as I know, it's Bashik.
Bashik.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 On the off chance he is listening to this, okay, Bashik. All right. So I'm just curious. I mean, which of those collaborations has had the most impact on your craft and how you develop it, and what did you learn from that collaboration?
Mm, I think like that was a long time ago, the collaborations with Christian as well as Nightcall. It's more than 10 years now. What the fuck? So yeah, it's been a while. So I think back then, like I wasn't thinking much about, okay, yeah, like I just did this track. How can I use this on another thing? I was just doing whatever comes to me. But right now, when I look back to it, I kind of realize like how much power there is in simplicity. I guess that is what I learned from whatever I did like 10 years, 12 years ago while I was making music. Because in this journey, there was a time when you kind of lose your focus, and like you kind of when I'm making music, you're doing a lot of things, and somehow those things aren't adding up. Like you are not enjoying what you're making. So those tracks that I did with Christian as well as Nightcall back then kind of give me that realization that whole sensibility that like less is more. The less the more simpler you keep things, the better it sounds, or like, so that way that those tracks have helped a lot. So
Mm.
funny you mentioned this. I was talking to Christian just today morning. So yeah.
Oh, okay. You're still in contact with him. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. We just found out that one of our tracks from 2014, has been like placed on some Netflix show, like very small, maybe, I don't know. So we were talking about that. Like, yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
S-
And one other thing I'm curious about, like in your opinion, in your observation of the listening audience over the years, I mean, what is stopping your style of music, synth pop, synthwave, whatever you want to call it? What is stopping that style of music from becoming big in India? Because in my opinion, it has all the ingredients. It
Mhm.
has, good songwriting. It has catchiness. It has slick production. But somehow I don't see it represented to the level that I want it to be seen in India. So what is stopping it from becoming truly big, in your opinion?
See, if you're talking about synth pop, the sound of synth pop or synth wave, like I feel it's already big in India. Like if you think about it, a lot of Bollywood songs in the recent days sounds very synth pop. Okay, I can't, uh, I can't recall the name of that song, but it was pretty huge a few days ago, and it's a all in all synth pop beat. So if you're talking about the sound, it's huge. Like people really vibe with that sound, they really like it. But with projects like mine, like Dreamhour or any other synth pop project, that's being performed in English, I guess like we are already like in India when you're making music and when you're making music in English, that too in a different style, it is going to alienate like a big chunk of the people. So in a way, I guess I've made peace with the fact like I used to worry a lot like यार ये sound मैं इतना time से कर रहा हूँ and I'm like doing this, I'm melody भी है beat भी है, how come like it's not getting there? And after a while you realize that bro, like people who need to listen are listening to it. So once again, like that synth pop, why you said that why is that song not huge in India? But I feel it's already huge in India. Man, I wish I could give you the name of that song. It's one Hindi song from some Bollywood movie. I can't recall the name, and it's full on synth pop beat, and it's like huge. People love it, and people, I've been told that people love it for the beat. So if tomorrow like I make a song in my style, but I probably sing it in Hindi and like slightly repackage it a little, I'm pretty confident that it might work. It's
Mhm.
just that, yeah, it could. But right now, I guess like what we are doing is I'm making music without trying to kind of think कि मतलब हाँ इधर चलेगा कि नहीं and all. So maybe that's why it's not working. I don't. I'm talking about myself. I don't know
Mm.
like the bigger picture why India it's not like that huge. Do you have
Same.
any other
I mean,
take on it?
yeah, language is a big factor, at least in India, right? There's so many different languages, and out of everything, we choose a language that's not even in Indian to begin with. So there's a little
Mm.
bit of disconnect somewhere because of the language. Dreamer, writes his songs in.
Mm.
So that
Okay.
would be one of.
So
Mm.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, there are so many acts from Northeast who have world-class sound. Like, I'm not exaggerating. They have world-class sound. I'm talking about bands from, say, like Mizoram or Nagaland or even Sikkim. But, like, I guess rest of the country don't know about them. So, makes me wonder too, like, how that song hasn't reached, like, everywhere. I really feel that like language might be one point, although like some bands who are really doing good right now in English, like Peter Cat and a lot of the bands, they're kind of changing that. Uh, but I guess that might be a point. I don't know. I could be totally wrong about it.
Mm. Yeah. I mean that makes sense. I mean, language seems to be a strong factor in that, and hopefully, the artist that you were talking about, like can make that sound bigger, and it can trickle down to independent artists like you guys as well. Okay. So I know that you've already mentioned this earlier in the chat, but you can tell us again what's next on the cards for Dreamer plus Dokodoko.
Okay. We have some things in like planned out, so we can, I guess, announce it right now. So we have an EP coming out in possibly September. It could be August also, and it's a Dokodoko and Dreamer EP, and it's a follow-up to IDK. Should I give the name as well? Okay, I mean the name will come out in a while. So yeah, there's a follow-up to IDK and also something that's confirmed from New Retro's end as well. I have a instrumental full-length album coming out in August with new retro wave. So yeah, these are the two things that are on the pipeline. That's for sure happening. Apart from other stuff that we are working on, but we can't confirm yet ki hoga ya nahi. So yeah, these two things
Okay.
are happening. Sure.
Uh,
I'll share the EP with you. I'd love to know what you think.
oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. I'd love to have more music in my car, blaring in my car while I'm driving through Bangalore at night. Because that is the most common setting in which I play your music, just FYI.
Sweet.
Yeah, like whenever I'm coming back from a gig or something, I just blast like your music and it makes the drive so much more pleasing, you know?
Sweet, sweet. Sweet.
Okay. So before we end this chat, I'd like to play a little game with you guys. It's called Quick Q&A. I'm going to ask you guys a couple of quick questions and you give me some quick answers. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is for both of you. So Debo, you can give your answer and then you can shift to Kritika, and Kritika, you can give your answer. All right?
Okay.
All right. When and where was your very first gig?
2017, so far sounds Pune.
Okay.
I think it was 2009. Gangtok. I played with this band I was in for a month or something. So yeah,
It was a school band.
it wasn't a school band. It was just a couple of guys I got from here and there, and just patched everything up to make a band. Yeah.
What a rapid fire, like were we supposed to answer it super quick?
No, no, no. You know what? You just give your answers at your pace. It's totally fine. Okay. Best and worst song from your catalog.
Ah, shit. Best. I could say like a lot of worst songs. Best song. Okay. Try hard. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with What I See for no reason as like best song. I kind of like how simple that song is. Worst song. So many. I have like made a lot of worst songs. Shit. You know, you go with the best song. I'll think of the worst song.
Um. Now it's going to look like I am copying you, but what I see, yes, what I see. Also, Fear. He never mentions that track, but Fear is a pretty
Yeah.
decent track you've made.
Man, worst. There's a track which I used to love, absolutely love when I made it. It is on the EP, and probably nobody has heard it. It's called Old Enough. The only good thing about the song is the vocals, which is done by this really amazing songwriter vocalist. You might know him. He's called Arjun Iyer. Uh,
Hmm.
he had an act called Gumbal. The only good thing about the track is the vocals. I absolutely hate. I don't know why I even put it in the EP, but yeah, Old Enough. That track.
Okay. Okay. Most underrated song from your catalog. The song you wish more people would notice and talk about.
Fear. Nobody ever mentions that track, but I think like it sounds pretty cool to me. Us. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
about
a
yours?
pretty cool
Fear.
track, man. Fear, yeah.
Yeah. Please check out Fear.
Okay. If you had to pick one song with which to introduce someone to your project for the very first time, which song would you pick?
Damn. Go for it.
That's a difficult one.
Just
Um, Maybe IDK because it has a lot of different elements and that kind of summarizes what we do in general.
we don't have any song called IDK.
No, I mean I don't know the song. I
I don't know
don't
what it
know.
means.
Ah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know which one I'd choose. Probably if Dreamar, then I'd probably suggest to check out like Safe on Your Own.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If you could pick a TV show or movie in which to feature your music, which TV show or movie would you pick?
Mm, Just for the fact that I love the show so much, uh, like it's discontinued, so I hope that's fine. There was a show called Utopia. It's a
British.
British show, and it's my like most favorite show that I've ever watched until now. for whatever reasons, and I would really love to have my music on that show. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, Utopia or Stranger Things also, maybe.
Stranger Things, because yeah, synth pop that too.
Yeah, Stranger Things feels like the safe choice. I mean,
Yeah,
it feels like the very first show that other people would have in mind when it comes to your
yeah,
music. But okay, like if the shoe fits, you know.
yeah.
Okay. Uh, Biggest inspirations as a musician. Who inspires you?
So many people. Um, like I've listened to Alanis Morissette, Amy Winehouse, all these crazy women for the longest time, and Bjork. There's so many of them, you know. Yeah. What about you?
And there's so many like if I had to name like a non-human entity, then it would be nostalgia. Like I'm super inspired by nostalgia in whatever I make. But
Mm.
if I had to name like character, like actual people, like I really follow Max Martin's work because he's the producer behind almost all of the like popular songs that we hear everywhere. But like ever since I was a kid, I've been listening to Max Martin. Everybody's been listening to some Max Martin, and uh, even 2015's Tame Impala and 2015 and before Tame Impala, I really like the sound. Air, there's a duo called Air, French duo. I absolutely love them, love their sound, and so many. But I guess nostalgia.
What about those old school soundtrack artists like, Vangelis, Giorgio Moroder, Vince Nicola? What about those guys?
Uh, Funny you mentioned Vangelis right now. So we recently made a track that was super inspired by on the new EP, which is super inspired by Vangelis's music. So I love Vangelis and um, Giorgio and Daft Punk. A lot
Mm.
of those legacy artists for sure. What about you? What kind of
Yeah, I
old
mean,
stuff?
yeah, I mean, whatever you said, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If you could meet one of those inspirations and thank them for influencing you, which of those inspiring artists would you pick? Which of them would you like to meet the most?
For Dreamer, I'd love to meet Daft Punk just to let them know that like क्या बढ़िया sound बना है वीरू some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that'll be a bit difficult now that they've retired and they've never shown their faces also. So
Yeah.
they may be walking past you on the street in
Yeah.
France or something and you may not even recognize them.
That would be cool though if I get to like hang out with them or even Air man. Like I
Or
keep
Bjork.
or Bjork. Yeah, Bjork.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Fantastic. First rock song you ever heard.
First heavy song I could say like it's not I mean, you'd probably think yeah, that's not even that heavy, but when I first heard it, it was the heaviest song I ever heard, and I was like, I want to make music for the rest of my life, which was Linkin Park's Paper Cut.
Dude, Linkin Park is such a common answer. I can't tell
Ah,
you how many times I've heard it when I've asked, like, people I've interviewed previously in the podcast, whenever I've heard this question. And this even like goes across not just like artists of your style, but also like these sort of like indie folk artists. Like Linkin Park
right?
comes up so much.
Bro, yes. So I'll just like change one answer. If there's anybody I'd love to meet, bro, it's Mike Shinoda.
Ah,
Like
okay.
you have no idea how much I have been inspired by him ever since I was in school. Like he was the guy I wanted to become, and I tried rapping for a while, and I figured, chalo nahi, utna bhi nahi hoga. But like the way he makes like he produces the stuff, then he writes the songs, and I was very inspired. I wanted to do something, be that person who like writes the music, produces the music. So I want to meet Mike Shinoda. And I'm not kidding about it. It's on my to-do list. Like I want to make that happen before I die. And before he dies too. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Also System of a
System of a
Down.
Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
System of a Down
Totally.
too. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. First electronic song you ever heard in the electronic music genre.
Ah damn, that's gonna be a difficult. I mean like is Michael Jackson electronic?
Yeah, definitely. That's that whole production style. Yeah, definitely. You can definitely count that.
So I heard my mom got me a tape of Dangerous, I guess,
Oh, okay.
and that those sounds really got me. Like I was totally thinking about how to replicate those sounds, and this was the time when I was still recording on Walkman. So long
Hmm.
story short, I could never replicate back then, but yeah, that was one of those electronic records that I absolutely loved. What about you?
I have no idea, man. It was so long ago. You have to I have a really bad memory, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like Dangerous is pretty underrated. Like every Michael Jackson album from like Dangerous onwards is very underrated because people always bring up like the first three albums, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. But I can definitely see like Dangerous influencing you as well because it's a lot more eclectic than people remember or give it credit for. You know,
Yes, absolutely agree. Like, like Dangerous, then History, and even the album that really tanked for Escape, was it called?
Invincible.
Invincible, Invincible. I love that album, man. Which is weird
Yeah.
because I couldn't even name the
Yeah,
album.
and I think there's one song in Invincible that kind of like predicted like the dubstep boom of like the 2010s. There is like one song
Yeah.
in there.
Oh,
I think the title of that song is Heartbreaker. And if you
okay.
listen to Heartbreaker, like all of the 2010s like dubstep sounds that that became popular with Skrillex, you can hear
Okay.
them in Invincible, and like Invincible came out ages before that. So
Yeah. Yeah, 2001. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna check that song out. I'm gonna listen to Invincible today.
yeah, yeah, go ahead and like let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Okay, next, first band or artist T-shirt you ever owned.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I want to think which one. Hmm. Uh, my first one wasn't that long ago, like probably 7, 8 years ago. Oh, it wasn't even an artist T-shirt. So I was at this one gig, and there was this label called Consolidate Records. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the first T-shirt that I ever bought that had like some band or some label or something, which was not that long ago. So yeah, before that, there was this metalhead. Like when I was going to a lot of metal gigs, I'm talking about my school days again. I had this T-shirt with just one skull, so that
Mm.
it didn't even have a band name, so I can't count that. But yeah, what about
Okay.
Yeah, I think uh at least the state I'm from, there's like you'll find young people wearing Slayer t-shirts like there's no tomorrow, right? So yeah, one of those, also a Radiohead t-shirt,
Mm.
probably. Yeah,
Mm.
that was one of.
Okay. Okay. Biggest technological hurdle you have ever faced while making your music. This could be like with your gear or with your software. Like, which is the biggest hurdle you can remember when it comes to the tech you worked with?
Man, I have a lot of answers for this. So I recently got my new laptop. Recently, as in it's been 2 years. And before that, all my systems, my desktop, my laptop, whatever, were these really underperforming machines. Okay. Like the first one I was making music one on was this 128 MB RAM wala desktop. So in except for right now, all the releases I've made so far until Propstar has been made on a device that was powered by a potato. So I remember like bashing my laptop, my computers ever since I was a kid so much. Like if AI ever becomes sentient, they're gonna get me for the abuse. So yeah, like a lot of times, like I have had albums that have crashed on me. Like I remember in 2015, I had made a album which completely crashed and I lost everything except for 3 tracks. It's called Think Think. Like it's on Bandcamp, I guess, right now. I don't know if I removed it. So yeah, a lot of technological hurdles like that had happened until what, like 2, 3 years ago, if that
Uh,
counts.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Dream collab you would love to do.
Since we have been talking about Linkin Park, man, like I would love to collab with Mike Shinoda just to have my childhood dream come true. That's it. There are so many other acts, but I guess Mike Shinoda, because it's been there since like I was like this tiny as a boy.
Also, I hope we can do a collaboration with System of a Down before we die.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. All
around.
right. And lastly, dream gig you would love to attend or perform at. This could be like a festival, this could be a lineup. So, dream gig.
Hmm. Attend. Like we really like performing more than attending, and we have a fair reason. Like we are really tiny people. Okay, you have met us in real life. We are
Yes.
not very tall and all. So gigs aren't the thing, man. Like we get lost in gigs. We can't even enjoy because how like we're like tiny. We get lost in the crowd. So we really like it when when you're performing. So regarding
There's
performing,
always tall people, hovering over us and pushing us here and there. So it's better to on the other side, I
Hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was young, I thought like Live in Texas is a festival, like Linkin Park Live in Texas. So when I was like back then, I had made up my mind कि Live in Texas में एक बार बजाना है. But
Okay.
बाद में I realized it's not a festival, but I want to play Live in Texas. Yeah. Live in Texas ही बजाना है. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for this chat. This has been really insightful and enjoyable. I hope it has been as fun for you as it has been for me.
Yes, it was.
Thank you so much for doing this with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. And I wish you guys the best of luck with your future releases. And I am looking forward to the instrumental release that Dreamhour is coming up and the next project of Dreamhour plus Dokodoko. So,
Yes, man.
guys, thank you so much for watching. Check out Dreamhour and Dokodoko on all streaming platforms. Keep an eye out for their latest releases. And if you like this conversation, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more cool podcasts like this. Thank you for watching.